Good morning. I'm Derek Prestridge, Major with the Texas Department of Public Safety Training and Operations Division. I'd like to welcome family and friends this morning for this celebration and ceremony of the graduation of A 2021. As we begin, I'd like to introduce our Texas Department of Public Safety Pipe and Drum Corps. This morning they will perform the new composition, Texas 10, composed by members. Please rise for the presentation of colors.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Baxter, and I'm the Assistant Chief of the Training Operations Division for the Texas Department of Public Safety. And I wanted to extend a welcome to everyone who's here, the friends, the family, and also recognize some honored and special guests that we have in our company today. Representing Texas Parks and Wildlife, we have Colonel Chad Jones and Lieutenant Colonel Ron Vanderrost. On behalf of Public Safety and Criminal Justice, Ms. Nicole Escano is here. On behalf of the Legislative Budget Board, Ms. Katie Fallow-Brown. On behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, Mr. Dimitri M. Mitchell. And from Senator Royce West's office in Dallas, we have Mr. Paul Emerson and Mr. Vince Libowitz. On behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, the Honorable Dan Patrick, we have Ms. Suzanne Makoviak and Mr. Joaquin Guadarrama. We have, from the Training Operations Division, we have our commanding staff, including our wonderful cafeteria staff. We have members of the Training Advisory Board from the Texas Department of Public Safety, regional directors, senior and executive leadership, chiefs of DPS. We have on the stage with us, we have the Chief of the Texas Highway Patrol, Dwight Mathis, and the Texas Department of Public Safety directors, Lieutenant Colonel Freeman Martin, Lieutenant Colonel Randall Prince, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Williams, and Director Stephen McCraw. We have former Public Safety Commissioner Randy Watson and current Public Safety Commission Commissioner Steve Stodgel, Ms. Nelda Blair, Mr. Dale Wainwright, and Chairman Stephen Mock. Also with us today is Senator Kelly Hancock and State Representatives Mr. James White, Mr. Cecil Bell, Mr. David Cook, Mr. Keith Bell, Mr. Steve Allison, and Mr. Tony Tinderholt. Deputy Secretary of State Joe Esparza, Lieutenant Governor, the Honorable Dan Patrick, and the Governor of the great state of Texas, the Honorable Greg Abbott. To get the ceremony to begin, it's my privilege to introduce to you the Chief of the Training Operations Division of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Chief Renell Bowie.
Thank you, Chief Baxter. Welcome. On January 17th, the 167th DPS Recruit School started. We received over 3,000 applications for this recruit school, and 182 invitations were sent out. And today, 145 remain. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere honor to welcome Class A-21. please have the troops be seated. It is now my honor to introduce the Director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, Colonel Steve McCraw. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for being here today for an important milestone in the Department of Public Safety's history. And I don't use that word as an hyperbole. It is an important milestone which you achieved, Class A 2021. The graduation commissioning of our 167th Trooper Training Class is a key milestone, as I said, because tomorrow will be a safer Texas than it is today. We are honored to have our Commander-in-Chief, Governor Greg Abbott, with us today. And I don't mind saying that our profession is public safety, which is the protection of people and property from harm. And there's no other governor that is as passionate about public safety and protecting people of Texas and the men and women who protect Texas than Governor Greg Abbott. When Texas is threatened, I can assure you, he works around the clock to ensure that all that can be done will be done. And I've got the speed dial to prove it, Governor. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it doesn't matter. He's on it. And when Texas, as I said, there's another part that I wanted to note. And we've got Senator Hancock, I see members of the legislature. And I can't tell you how grateful we are to Governor Abbott, but Governor of the Texas State Legislature, the members of the Texas State Legislature who are true citizen legislators who care deeply about public safety and all that you've done, not only to protect our troopers, but protect all law enforcement in Texas. God bless you, and thank you. We leave here today. We're going to be entrusted by the governor and the Texas legislature with some incredible, enormous powers. They're very important that you exercise judiciously at all times. The power to detain, the power to search, the power to seize, the power to arrest, the power to use force must always be used judiciously and with care. As I told you when we began this journey, is that your position now is more important than the director's position or any leadership position in the Department of Public Safety. And you'll have more
freedom, more discretion in the department from the chief of the Texas Highway Patrol and the deputy director of law enforcement operations than any leadership position, because you are the tip of the spear when it comes to our 3 goals, which are
to prevent crime and terrorism, goal number 1. Goal number 2, save lives and protect property. And number 3, to maintain public order. And remember the words of Supreme Court Justice Warren Burger. The police
must always obey the law when they enforce the law. The reason you're recruited, and you heard it from Chief General Bowie about the numbers, and the reason that you were selected and why you're such an elite group, is because it's something you practice throughout your lives and your career. And we owe your parents and your family and friends. It's called character, integrity, excellence, accountability, and teamwork. Those are the core values of the Department of Public Safety. They're your core values. And when you report to your duty station, I want to remind you of the Department of Public Safety's motto. It's not just a slogan, it's not just something that requires an agency, and you've got to have a motto. Let's put a motto there. Courtesy, service, protection has served us very well. First, it describes what we do, protect and serve, and then it describes how we must do it with courtesy. And I don't care, who you deal with, on or off duty, you have an obligation to treat people in a courteous manner and with dignity and respect. The vilest criminals of the world included, those that hate us with a passion and despise that uniform and what law enforcement does. Still, we have an obligation to treat them with courtesy and dignity and respect. Frankly, that's the way you win them over, if you're ever going to win them over. More importantly, or just as importantly, if you don't, they're not going to cooperate, they're not going to consent, they're not going to confess. We need that. We need that from the public. We have an obligation to do it. And how you interact with the public, is the ultimate in terms of community-based policing. Is how you interact with everybody around the state. Our community, your community, is Texas. That means there is no alibis. It's everybody you come in contact and treat with dignity and respect. I want to close. I know this is going to be some of the leadership will probably chagrin to hear the story again, but I think it's important to tell because what's critical, keep in mind, you have these awesome powers, you have this great training, you have this competence, and there's no question you will be able to do the job and do it well. And there's a whole sense of confidence. You go out into that world wearing that uniform, and sometimes, because I can think of an example where troopers are a little overconfident, number one, and sometimes there might be a touch of arrogance based upon who you are and your background. And I'll use an example that one trooper that left, just like you, reported their duty station. And when they got to their duty station, of course, this one trooper, he's been educated, he's got a degree, he's dealing with a partner, his break-in partner, or his field training officer, had expertise, but only had 30 hours of college. So how much does he really know about the job? Really? So this trooper, a little overconfident, finally got an opportunity to stop a vehicle, which, how hard is that, to stop a vehicle, right? Well, everything worked. He did everything by the book. It went exceptionally well, all the way up until the vehicle started creeping uphill towards the vehicle in front that he stopped. Well, he had forgot to put the vehicle in park, right? So how smart is that trooper? Well, surprisingly, he's actually with us today. He's the director of the Texas Department of Public Safety. Yes, I'm the director, I'm the colonel, but I report to a civilian commission, the Public Safety Commission. And every one of these members have been selected by the governor, and they've been confirmed and reviewed and confirmed by the Senate. And these men and women are dedicated professionals in their field. They've been exceptionally throughout their lives, and they come with a vast amount of knowledge that's been very helpful to the Department of Public Safety. And you've already been introduced to you, but you've seen there's one, a former Supreme Court justice and businesswoman attorney. In fact, two attorneys, I think three attorneys out of four. We got a few attorneys, General. Thank you very much, appreciate it. But the chairman of the Public Safety Commission has served us for a long time. He's worked very hard, and we're very blessed to have him. Chairman Steve Mott, he's the chief executive officer of a very successful business in Houston. He's a philanthropist. He's done so much for public safety and law enforcement community, and he's spent so much of his time, and there's so many things going on, and to have his level of expertise and his access to him around the clock has been invaluable. And any successes we've had, I can directly attribute it to him, and members of the Public Safety Commission, and thank you. And on behalf of the department, thank you, Chairman Mott, for all you've done for the Department of Public Safety, and bless you. And I'd like to bring you up here, if you don't mind, for something very important to do.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Director McCraw, for that introduction. And on behalf of my fellow members of the Public Safety Commission who are with us today, Nelda Blair and Dale Wainwright, we extend our gratitude to you and your senior leadership team for your leadership of this department. Your devotion to DPS in the state is part of what makes the Department of Public Safety a model to follow across the country, and we thank you for that. I'll go off script momentarily just to say that when the governor texts the director at 2 in the morning, I get a text about 2:30 in the morning. So we've had a lot of late night conversations. It's been a real pleasure to work with him. He is always on, always serving the state of Texas, and we're very fortunate to have him. And with the rest of his leadership team, outstanding folks. last 7 years plus, and A2021 is the 19th class to walk this stage during that time. You're also the largest. I'm sure that everybody will debate about who's the best, but you are the largest, so congratulations. These 19 classes over 8 years represents a major commitment by the governor and the Texas legislature towards public safety, not only along the border, but throughout the state of Texas. We are indebted to them for their leadership, and we are indebted to each of you for rising to the opportunity to be part of the Texas Highway Patrol and to put on the Texas Tan. As you well know by now, the DPS Training Academy employs a rigorous curriculum that the department has carefully and deliberately created for you, our Texas State Troopers. It is clear that the select men and women who will make it all the way to graduation are truly set apart from the rest. There were the days that you thought you were too tired to do another burpee or to study for one more test. You have pushed one another when you thought you had nothing left to give, encouraged one another, held each other accountable, and here you are, some 6 months later, earning the title of Texas State Trooper together. You should be proud of yourselves. And now, as you go on to prepare for your duty stations throughout the state of Texas, you will find that there are many, many other brothers and sisters who have gone before you, and they will be there to help you throughout tough times as well. I encourage you to welcome their help and to help others when you can. A2021, are you ready? Yes! Very good. My fellow commissioners, join me in congratulating you on becoming Texas State Troopers today, working on a new life of service. Be safe out there, and God bless all of you and your families. And now, it is my honor to introduce our special guest today, Governor Greg Abbott. I want to thank the Governor for being here today. I know the demands of our state keep you very busy, and we appreciate you taking the time to celebrate the accomplishments of our newest members of DPS. Governor Abbott has dedicated his life to the state of Texas. He was elected the 48th governor in 2014, following his tenure as the longest-serving Attorney General in the state. Since being elected governor, he's worked to improve Texas through bettering the economy as well as strengthening family values. He's a native Texan, and the governor cares deeply about this state and the people who live in it. Governor Abbott is also a strong supporter of law enforcement and the Department of Public Safety. For that, we are extremely grateful. He has supported our agency for the duration of his career. In recent times, when law enforcement agencies across the United States have lost support from their communities, the governor led in the opposite direction, and he went all in with his support for peace officers. He clearly demonstrates that he has the backs of law enforcement throughout the state, and by extension, the communities they protect every day. We are proud to serve under your faithful leadership, and we are honored with your strong support and that of the members of the Texas Legislature. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us today, Governor. Class A of 2021, please join me in welcoming the Governor of the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott.
Thank you all very much, and I want to express my gratitude to Chairman Stephen Mott for his long tenured service, as well as the service of the other commissioners who joined with us here today. And I particularly want to thank the long tenured service of Director Stephen McCraw. You know, had I only known about that story about not putting the car in park before getting out, I'm not sure if you'd still be on the commission and leading the Department of Public Safety today, but I think you've shown your true colors, Director, for the way that you've responded. But as much as anything else, I want to thank all of the family members members and friends who gather with us here today to congratulate the class of A 2021. Thank you all for being a part of this. There's really one primary message that I want to convey today, and that is to the class. I want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your bravery. As you all have surely learned, maybe even before you came into this class, but definitely as you have worked your way through the training program, the Texas Department of Public Safety has a legendary place in Texas history. And at this particular moment in time, you play a far more pivotal role than ever before. As Director McCraw was alluding to, I put on his shoulders a lot of work, oftentimes on a daily basis. And I want to thank him for his leadership as well as his flexibility to meet the ever-changing law enforcement challenges that we are dealing with. Never has his job, or candidly, your job, been more demanding and more essential. The tasks that you are asked to do are increasingly more complex, more multifaceted, and candidly even more dangerous than ever before. For example, last summer I deployed more than 1,500 officers to cities across the entire state as we faced weeks of civil unrest, violence, and looting. DPS troopers helped local law enforcement to maintain order, to defend private property, and to protect innocent lives. Similarly, when DPS received intelligence about violent extremists planning to hijack protests at the state capitol, DPS troopers were deployed to heighten security and to maintain order. DPS has also been involved in our battle against even COVID by providing vaccines and healthcare and vaccination sites across the state. And, of course, as we face unprecedented challenges at our border, the Texas Department of Public Safety is on the front lines. Earlier this year, we launched Operation Lone Star to combat that challenge. And in just about 5 months' time period, the Texas Department of Public Safety has arrested more than 3,500 criminals and apprehended more than 50,000 illegal immigrants, and has seized a record amount of deadly fentanyl drugs, plus weapons and other contraband, making our state safer. Whatever the challenge, whatever the danger, DPS troopers consistently answer the call. Whether it's stepping up to stop international cartels or being first on the scene at a mass shooting, troopers are the go-to team to protect our state. To just show you one of the ways in which we have to constantly evolve to the challenges that we face. These days, we're battling against far more than just criminals and criminal activity. We're also having to battle against an ideology that is hostile to law and order. It's the ideology to defund police and defund law enforcement. Wherever that ideology has been adopted, residents have suffered. They've suffered from crime waves, from looting, and even spikes in the murder rate. Well, as you know, we passed a law in Texas to prevent defunding law enforcement in the Lone Star State. But here's the deal that comes to you. We can pass a law against defunding police, but we cannot pass a law against a rogue ideology. All of us must be part of defeating that ideology. And one way to do that is to do what Director McCraw was talking about earlier, and that is to show the public what good law enforcement looks like and what can be accomplished by good law enforcement. You all are at the forefront of that mission every single day that you put on your uniform. You can defeat that anti-police ideology by being an example of the value that law enforcement provides to our communities. Whatever the challenge, you all are now part of the legacy of the Texas Department of Public Safety. A legacy built by heroes. Heroes like Trooper Moises Sanchez. On April the 6th, 2019, Trooper Sanchez was attempting to arrest a suspect who had fled from a scene of a crash. And tragically, he lost his life in the line of duty. Trooper Sanchez was a Marine, he was a community leader, and he was a dedicated Department of Public Safety trooper and a loving husband and father. Importantly, as he would want it most, his legacy continues to live on here today as his son, Zachary Sanchez, joins the ranks of the Texas Department of Public Safety. He, along with the more than 140 members of this class, represent the next generation of DPS troopers who will tackle the next generation of public safety challenges. The one constant is the public safety that you provide. So as you take your oath today as DPS troopers, you have answered a higher calling to protect and serve our state and all who call it home. So congratulations on this tremendous achievement, and thank you for your service to the state of Texas. May God bless you, may God watch over you, and may God forever bless the great state of Texas.
So the hard work was performed by the women and men sitting before us today and the support staff that worked with them over the past 6 months. I have the pleasure of sharing the highlights, the easy part. And so I'd like to share some significant moments that occurred throughout their training experience. Class 2008-2021 is populated by a group of individuals that showed up on the first day and bonded as a team. Forged as they completed 1,701 training hours together. The group of women and men before you today represents the largest graduating class
academy in the history of the Texas Department of Public Safety, as well as one of the most diverse. They are represented by 22 prior law enforcement officers, 37 members of prior military experience. The oldest graduate is 50 years of age, and the youngest is 21. Additionally, 96 of today's graduates hold college degrees. And just as A 2021 has its own unique population, this group has their own significant accomplishments and experiences that set them apart from other classes. As a team, they succeeded despite the COVID pandemic and one of the worst winter storms in Texas history. As a team, they rode a combined total of over 7 million meters during physical training. 90% of the class exceeded the advanced level of fitness performance during physical fitness testing. And together, the class lost a total of 1,262 pounds. And those who did not lose gained a combined total of 269 lean pounds. Additionally, the class experienced over the past 6 months, they celebrated 4 marriages and welcomed 6 children into the world. So I'm confident our recruiting section will be monitoring the progress of those 6 children over the next few years. While this class certainly preserved and excelled as a whole, there were also significant individual accomplishments. We can only mention a few this morning. Trooper trainees, Davis did the most sit-ups, equaling 128. Trooper trainee Estrada and Verduzco tied for the most push-ups, totaling 120. Trooper trainee Knight ran the fastest mile and a half in 8 minutes and 27 seconds. And trooper trainees Muir and Escalon set the male and female records for the 2,000 meter and 500 meter and 4-minute rowing events. The Physical Fitness Award, which recognizes the top male and female athletes in the class, was presented to trooper trainees Sarah Orenday and Chase Davis. The Major James O. Ratliff Performance Award, which recognizes the student who has outperformed all the others in the combined areas of driving, firearms, was presented to trooper trainee Gilberto Trevino. The Norman Zader Award, which recognizes the highest academic average, was presented to Gilberto Trevino, who had a class-high GPA of 97.14. And the Mark Phoebus Award was recognized one trainee who was selected by the platoon sergeants for demonstrating leadership traits and qualities throughout recruit school was presented to Chase Davis. The staff and command of the Training Operations Division extremely proud of the performance and accomplishments of all the members of Class A 2021. I now invite Director Stephen McCraw back to the podium to administer the oath of office. Thank you, Major. As a trained police officer, we're given the responsibility of giving the tools to be able to detect patterns and trends over our career, which is very important, especially when you're trying to develop reasonable suspicion, probable cause on the side of the road. And there's one trend that I've noticed is that the only time I've ever had a standing ovation in my entire life is when I've been on stage with the governor. Class 821, rise. Raise your right hand and repeat after me, using your name where I use mine. I, Stephen McCraw, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of a trooper for the Department of Public Safety of the state of Texas. I will never betray my integrity or the public trust. And I'll do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and this state. So help me God. Troopers, what is your mission? Got it. Presentation of badges. Miguel Acosta. Renee Alvarez. Brandon Aquino. Cassandra Armas. Adolfo Arriaga, who is unable to be with us this morning. Evan Bailey. Patricia Barrera. Aaron Barton. Roland Bautista. Gabriel Blue, who is unable to be with us this morning. Garrett Bratton, presented by Kenneth Bratton, retired Texas DPS. Dante Brown. Hector Canales. LeBron
Nolani Castellano, presented by Daniel Castellano, Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office. Vince Castillo, presented by Richard Castillo, Mission Police Department. Oscar Castrillon. Kimberly Chavez. Ricardo Sibri. Dakota Cole. Harold Cole. Juan Cruz. Desmond Darden. Chase Davis, presented by Brian Davis, retired Texas DPS narcotics, currently with Walter County Sheriff's Office. Albert DeHillier. Preston Demery. Ty Den. Jesus Dominguez, presented by Norman Dominguez, Laredo Police Department. Nolan Doss. Cody Durham, presented by Gary Durham, Texas DPS Training Operations Division. Victoria Escalon, presented by Victor Escalon Jr., Texas DPS Region 3 Regional Director. Jose Espinosa. Jason Estrada, presented by Gerardo Estrada, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Nicholas Uten, presented by Glenn Uten, Texas DPS CID. Eric Flores. Fatima Flores. Ricardo Flores, presented by Erasmo Flores III, Homeland Security. Abelardo Garcia, presented by Rajita Garcia, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Cynthia Garza. Julio Garza. Jeremy Gomez. Brian Gomez Robinson. Carlos Gonzalez Garza. Joshua Bradburn. Hunter Graves. presented by Tim Grillett, retired Texas DPS Highway Patrol. Ulysses Guajardo. Cesar Guzman, presented by Vanessa Solis, Odessa Police Department. Michael Guzman, presented by Ben Cavanza, Texas Highway Patrol, Assistant Chief. Keenan Hadnett, presented by Mickey Hadnett, retired Texas DPS Narcotics, currently at Eyeball ISD. Preston Hageman. Benjamin Haverkamp. Ronnie Hayward. Abel Hernandez. Ruben Hernandez. Ruby Hernandez Silva. Oscar Herrera. William Huff. Joshua Hunt. Jaden King. Caitlin King. Daniel Knight. Landon Coombs, who is unable to be with us this morning. Joseph LeBlanc. Benjamin Lewis. Andrew Lopez. Israel Maldonado. Gladys Matakin. Axel Martinez. Benigno Medina IV. Joshua Meek. Matthew Michael. Jarrett Muir. Charles Milstead. Victor Mironov. Andrew Mitchell. Arthur Mitchell. Deja Moore. Jaime Mora. Franklin Morgan, presented by Art Morgan, retired Texas DPS CVE. Morrow, presented by Shane Morrow, Texas Rangers Division. Zachary Murray. Justin Myers. Joshua Nance. Richard Novak. Cody Olmeda. Sarah Oronde. Jose Orozco Zamora. Austin Parrott, who is unable to be with us this morning. Adam Pena. Kyle Penny. Robert Pennington. Brian Pope. Raul Quiroga. Fidel Quiroz. Lonnie Rawlins. Takanya Redden, presented by Dennis Redden, Texas DPS CIP. Jonathan Reyes. Alfonso Rodriguez. Diego Rodriguez. German Rodriguez. Miguel Rowe. Devontae Rowe. Caleb Rosenbaum. Saul Salas. Juan Salinas. Julio Salinas. Edmundo Sanchez. Zachary Sanchez. Jose Santos. Yulissa Segovia. Ryan Serrano. Will Simon. Jaquan Sinclair. Otis Stamps. Brendan Stevens. Gentaria Stewart, presented by John Trace Benjamin, Harris County Sheriff's Office. Amanda Strickland. Marjorie Thompson. Joseph Tijerina, presented by Orlando Tijerina, retired Webb County Sheriff's Office. Rodrigo Torres Jr. Gilbert Trevino. Jose Trevino. Michael Turner II, presented by Michael Turner, retired Texas DPS narcotics. Cody Vance, presented by John Vance, Texas Rangers Division. Zachary Vasquez, presented by Carlos Vasquez, retired Chavez County Sheriff's Office. Adrian Bills, presented by Keith Peterson, Genesis Perdea, presented by Ruel Texas DPS CLE. Ricardo Verduzco. Kyle Vickers. Donald Vigil, presented by John Resendez III, Houston Metro Police Department. Prisciliano Villegas. Michael Ward. Ty Wilkerson. Dayton Williams. Logan Williams. Yasmin Williamson. Rex Winters. Andrew Wong. Aisha Yassin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate our new DPS troopers. We will now have the benediction by Class Chaplain Trooper Andrew Lopez.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction. Class, on, cover. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord lift his countenance to you and give you peace. Shall we humble ourselves as we go to the Heavenly Father in prayer? Blessed are you, O Lord our God, forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and victory and the majesty, indeed everything that is in the heavens and earth. Yours is the dominion, O Lord, and you exalt yourself as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you rule over all, and in your hand is power and might, and it lies in your hands to make great and to strengthen. Now therefore, our God, we thank you and we praise your glorious name. But who are we but sojourners and pilgrims? And as ancestors before us, our days on the earth are like a shadow, and so we hope in your promises in Christ. Gathered here surrounded by those that we love, those who have guided us through the years and these past months, we find ourselves humbled. Humbled by the life that is before us. All the generations represented, those who have gone on before us in spirit, those who will live on past our time here on earth, and those yet to be spoken into existence. We thank you for the hope that each life has been given by your faithful promises. Our anchors in this life, our precious children and wives and husbands, our families, protect them in the night and in the day, guide them while we do the work that troopers do. Use us, place us in the paths and roadways to do good and not evil, to protect and not harm. As clay in the potter's hand, mold us to be men and women that lead others to high places. As we embark on roads unknown, through the toils and snares, through times of rejoicing and times of sorrow, may we seek your wisdom to endure. Vindicate the weak and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and destitute, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. Let us, Father, be a vessel for your deliverance. Bless the leaders of our land, Texas. How beautiful and precious the liberty we have, because you have created us in your image, and we abide in this truth. Try our hearts, for you delight in uprightness. In the integrity of our hearts, we willingly offer our riches and ourselves to serve and protect. As we scatter the region of the state, may we never forget those who have bled and died in the name of peace. Bless those they have left behind. As we carry on in this life, may we hold fast to Jesus, in whose name we approach your heavenly throne this hour, and in whose death and resurrection we find hope. In his holy name we pray, your will be done. Amen.
Class A21 remains standing. Will our guests please be seated? The change of command is something that dates back to the time of Roman leaders. It is to ensure that the unit always has leadership. A21 is your commanding officer. I leave you with this final command. Remember your training, and remember to treat everyone that you come in contact with the utmost dignity and respect. Chief Matt, Class A21 has completed their training, and they have earned the right to be called Texas State Troopers. I hereby transfer command to the Texas Highway Patrol.
Class A21, as it's been shared throughout your graduation ceremony, remember that you not only represent this agency, but you represent so much more. Are you ready? Class A21, you will report to your assigned duty on August 22nd, ready, willing, and able to assume your new duties as a Texas State Trooper. Do you accept these orders? Trooper Darren, will you prepare your class to be dismissed?
Yes, sir.